Thank you for joining us. Welcome to Hotelstv agent training for this webinar, week 1 of 8. And week 1 covers clients being who, what, when, and how. And through the course of this presentation, we will be discussing all these different elements, and you have a chat function on your screen so that you can add comments and questions, which we will address towards the end of the training presentation. Thank you all for joining us. We have agents from all over the world. Some have been with us for a little while, some are new. We're very pleased with the successes of many of our agents more recently, and we wish you all continued success. Hopefully you get some really good tips and tricks and value out of this training webinar and the following weeks as a lot of the information is now revised to complement exactly what we do. Okay, without further ado, let's move on. All right, firstly, a disclaimer, okay, and especially for you newbies that are here, the methods taught here have been learned from many years dealing with clients, customers, hotels, and agents doing exactly what you do. These have been proven to work time and time again. The results are there, statistics are there, the clients are there. But they don't work on their own. They require a combination of good communication skills, self-motivation, activity, diligence, perseverance, industry knowledge, research, and belief. Belief is incredibly important. It's belief that you can solve their problem or your customers are better off with you than not with you. And the more you understand how to use the technology, the more you understand about the marketplace, the more that this really starts to sink in about what we do, how powerful this is, and the effect that it can have on those people that you're working with to make their lives better, to make their stays more enjoyable, and saves them some money, or at least get them the best value they're going to get by treating them as a group or as part of something special, as an event. Okay, so we're discussing clients, and this is all about who is the client. This is a multiple choice question for you. Okay, your client is either A, the booking guest, or B, the event organizer. And I think it's a bit of a rhetorical question. I should have put C, the hotel, maybe just to mix it up a bit. Okay, but the answer is, of course, B, the event organizer. Okay, why is our client the event organizer and not the booking guest? The booking guest is the one paying the money. They're the one staying at the hotel. Why are they not our client? Okay, why? Because the event organizer owns that audience. So the event organizer has control of that. We can't get to that particular person without going through the organizer. So step one for us is very much to recruit the event. And this is why the client is week 1 in our training program. One event organizer could equal 2,000 guests. Hypothetically, it could be 10, could be 50, could be 1,000, could be 10,000, depending on the size of the event. But that's the power of dealing directly with the event organizer. Okay, they need help, and they present a really unique business opportunity for us. Okay, and we'll see the needs section in a minute, and we'll go through that in more detail. But this is why we exist. This is why we have an opportunity. As agents, you've come into this market. Now, what's the definition of an organizer or an event organizer? Because I think this is something that a lot of people mistake for a professional conference organizer or a PCO. There are lots of PCOs out there, and we work with some PCOs, but they are not necessarily regarded as our definition of an organizer. An organizer is anyone managing an event, a group, or a happening, whatever a happening is. They're not necessarily professional. They've just been given the job of organizing that event. So in a medical conference, it could be the administrators of a hospital. In a school, it could be some teachers organizing a sports event. It could be just some parents that are putting together a tournament, or the coaches of football clubs, or gymnastics, or cheerleading, or karate organizers. These are not professional conference organizers, yet they are very much the decision makers in the process and control of multiple rooms at a time. So what is an event? Okay, so an event is a group or a trade show. There's some examples here of ones we've done: an exhibition, meeting, conference, companies. Now, companies meaning a company that just has a lot of delegates that travel. So that could be on a weekly or monthly basis. They might travel to a particular destination just for work. They might, we've worked with some oil companies in the Middle East before, and we attached our booking system to their website and negotiated some corporate rates, and the booking system just made it convenient, password protected, and just made it convenient for these people to get their selected rates and be negotiated as an entity or a group. Focus groups. A focus group could be anything that essentially has the potential to book multiple rooms at a time. Like a company, essentially, you could consider as a focus group. Sports tournaments. We've done many sports tournaments over time. More recently, we've been talking a lot about karate tournaments, because we've located and we're working with various karate tournaments in several locations around the world. But these could be gymnastics, cheerleading we've done before. We've even done a lot of trade shows around sports and the sports industry, through from Australia, Bangkok, right the way through to the US and Canada. Festivals. Festivals are great. Everything from Mardi Gras to Pride to Spanish village festivals, events where millions of people could turn up to a particular location at a specific time of the year and need accommodation effectively. So festivals come in all shapes and sizes all over the world. Weddings, of course, I think we've all discussed weddings at length. There's great opportunities in weddings. That is still considered an event. Concerts are an event. And look, I'm sure there's a lot more that we can actually add to the list. You, as our agents, will be able to add and explore those different opportunities within your locations and your country, to really expand our definition, of what is actually an event. So effectively, our opportunity is anything where there is a potential to book multiple rooms at once, multiple rooms over the course of a year. What it does, it gives us negotiating power to harness people into one location, which is our PBA, and really to give them better value as a result of that, and provide other services, other added value, be able to organize things for them, those sorts of things, anything. So it's really important to be clear: what is an event, what is an event organizer, and this is $100 billion per year marketplace that we actually sit in, which represents about 20% of a hotel's revenue. We're not going to go into the hotel side of it. We've got those over the coming weeks, and you'll be able to knit all this together and give yourself all the ammunition you need to be able to really take your business forward. But this week, I just really want to delve into the events because there's a lot of aspects about the event that we get asked before people join us and during. Um, One of those main questions is, where do I find them? And the reason we have this first is because it's the chicken and the egg. The events come first. Yes, it's great to have hotel contacts, but at this point you don't need any rates. You could promote that you've got hotel contacts to these events and that the hotels would like to work with these events, but we don't need any rates at this stage because we don't go near that just yet. What we need is the event. We need to find the right event. So the next question is, where do I find events? Well, events are all around you. You'll encounter event opportunities daily in your normal life, work life, your friends, family, and children's activities, and all sorts of other places. You can be quite reactive to finding out about events. And what I mean by that is that you'll know of local information, that you'll just hear about events coming to where you are or other locations. Nationally, community, through your community, through clubs or entities that you represent or operate within. Work, lots of opportunities come out of work. I think we all attend trade shows and meetings and have opportunities through that. News as well. You can hear things all on, especially local news, TV, radio, social networks. We get bombarded with this stuff all the time. But until you actually come into this industry, quite often you probably miss it, or you just don't take any notice of it. But now, as I'm sure you do, even just driving down the road, you notice opportunities that you wouldn't have noticed otherwise. So that's great, but they are literally all around you. Now, the proactive way to find events is to go onto Google. We'll show you some examples of that through this training. Social networks, you pretty much do the same thing. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, these are all opportunities for you. Networking groups are great if you belong to any networking groups like the BNI. They have chapters all over the world. We can provide you more information on that. And they generally only, in the BNI, Business Network International, they actually only take in one category of business to each chapter. So if you go in as the hotel expert or the hotel booking agent, you will actually be the only one in that chapter, and that can open up opportunities, especially if you're in a busy chapter. Some cities have multiple chapters, so that's something just to look out for. BNI. We'll go through that in business development anyway. Chamber of Commerce is another one. Whatever attaches you to the marketplace, to businesses, to opportunities, to events. A lot of Chamber of Commerce have events themselves. So lots of opportunity to be reactive or proactive. But first, where do I find the most suitable events? What we want to do is get really, really relevant. We really want to dig in now to understanding what we call the Hotelstv ecosystem. And this is actually how you discover the best events. You save yourself a lot of time and energy. Firstly, understanding the ecosystem. So if you think about an ecosystem as it's a system that we operate within, and all our agents operate within the same ecosystem. That consists of events, guests or attendees to those events, no matter what event that is, the hotels, the agents being you, and us being Hotelstv supporting you and supporting the mechanism that drives this. So this is our ecosystem. One of the things that's really important, I think, to do before you start choosing the events that you want to focus on and getting your niche is to actually understand how it all ticks, okay? And like anything, we work in a marketplace where you have a solution to a problem. Now, sometimes people don't realize they have a problem, or maybe they have an inefficiency and could be more efficient. Well, there's lots of reasons around. But firstly, what we need to do is really identify these needs so that we understand before we even try and look for events. So what does the event organizer need? So when we're dealing with events in our ecosystem, what does the event organizer need? What is their issue or issues that they have? Why do they need hotel options? Why you see many event websites, trade shows, they always have an accommodation link. It's usually there's not a lot behind it, but why do they do that? It's important to understand that. Why would they be motivated to work with you? These are things that you need to have the answers for before you go into this situation. Now, what about the guests? What do the guests and attendees need? What are they looking for? Okay, and why should they book with you? You've got to be able to answer these questions. The hotels, what do the hotels want, and why would they want to work with you as well? Okay, and what do they do now? You know, what have they been doing? How do they get their business at the moment? What are their priorities? Hotelstv agents, what do you want as an agent? What is your purpose for contacting these events? Are you, when you contact them, are you looking for a contact? Are you looking for an email address? Are you looking to do business? Are you looking to find out more information? I mean, you've got to know what your intention is with each step that you actually make. Okay, and Hotelstv, what do we want and why are we here? So let's discuss these. Firstly, the events. Okay, now these are motivators and solutions for the events. Now, some event organizers don't even know they have a problem. Okay, they're so focused on their event, they're so focused on helping people buy their tickets, attend the event, putting a stand up, connecting the electricity and the Wi-Fi connections and all these sorts of things. Okay, their mind is not on the accommodation, although they recognize it's an important part, but they don't necessarily want to handle it. Okay, so let's understand what they want. They're looking for success. If people have a good hotel experience, they are more motivated to attend the event again. Okay, and we've had this many, many times through, especially sporting tournaments, kids tournaments, when families are turning up to a particular event. If it's been really difficult to find the right accommodation, or it's been stupidly expensive because the hotels have lifted their prices, or it's just been really hard to find, or maybe the team that they're with got split up. This could all be really detrimental to the actual event being successful, not just now, but maybe in the next year or the year after, and having these people attend future events if they feel that it's so busy that they just can't. Not everyone's a hotel booking expert. Not everyone even knows how to use booking.com or Airbnb or anything like this. A lot of these people, especially if they have to book multiple rooms, if one competitor is attending an event and they're taking 4 or 5 family members to watch them, then they don't just need one room. Quite often they need 2 or 3 rooms in the hotel. And if they're part of a team that has 20 competitors, that's 60 to 80 family members as well. They're going to need a lot of rooms. So it's really important. So how can you help the event? Okay, events sell tickets, stands, they're annual, well, a lot of them. They want repeat attendees. They want to build a successful event. So that's one thing you can look at. What do they need to be successful? Saving time and handling inquiries. Events receive inquiries all the time. Okay, where can I book? What do you recommend? There is an expectation that by being part of the event, they're going to get a negotiated rate. Okay, so there's almost an obligation on the event to publish something or to have some information about the actual accommodation side of it to provide a solution. So what they do is generally they'll They'll put a link up on the page and they'll put some information about how you can find hotels. They might put a link to a booking.com or Expedia or something like that. Or they might just link you directly to a list of hotels. So they'll tell you the Holiday Inn, the Novotel, Hyatt, whatever it is. It'll be a list, it'll be the web address. So you go through there and you can find them and book. But other than a small amount of convenience, there's no negotiated rate, there's no recognition, there's no added value or anything like that. So what you can do is you can actually save the organizers a lot of time. You can handle inquiries and these calls even for them. You know, some events have hundreds of calls from people about the accommodation. At least you can handle that. So that's another motivator or solution that you can provide, not only making the event more successful, but saving them time. Monetizing the event. Some events want to earn money from the hotel bookings, but they don't have the time, experience, or contacts, or even the technology to do it. Now, this is the reason that we're here as well, is to provide that, once again, because it's seen to be a need. Not all the events want money out of it. So you have to keep that one up your sleeve when you're actually talking to the event organizer and negotiating. When you're new, it's quite an easy one to call up an event organizer and just say, look, I've got a business proposition for you. You know, how would you like to earn some money from the accommodation that you're not offering through your website at the moment? I can help you with that. Plug in a booking system for free and share some commission with you. That's a pretty easy one. But the more experience that you get with this, the more you want to hold on to that commission and not give it away so easily. But initially, if it gives you a few wins, if it gets your confidence up and it gets you a few events and a little bit of money starting to roll through, then it can be a good idea to kind of go in quite strong with the monetizing the event. Some events, in fact, this is actually a lot of events, are not allowed to take commission. Now, remember, event organizers are just an organizer. They work for a company. They're actually not allowed to be incentivized or be not objective, I guess, in some capacity by accepting money. So they won't accept it. So they're keen to use your services. They want you to help them and provide all the necessary requirements and technology and selected hotels and help their guests for reasons of, you know, point number one of success and point number two, saving time. But they don't necessarily need an incentive. Look, for every 20 rooms booked, you might give one of the organizers a free room. You could negotiate that directly with the hotel so that every 20 rooms is a free room. And you could use the hotel's incentives that they have to incentivize your events. Because effectively, you can regard yourself as an extension of the hotel's sales department. So you're like an independent extension of that sales department. But you have more buying power, you're doing more events, you're more objective. When you put a PBA together, you have a selection of different categories of hotels. You're not just offering one choice. You have budget, mid-range, luxury, you know, different locations and so on, depending on the requirements of the event and the profile of the event. And that's the other thing that we haven't really discussed so much here, but what is the profile of the event? You know, are there teams arriving or are they individuals? Are they executives? Are they, you know, so all these things can change the type of hotels that you choose. Once again, that's something we'll discuss in the next segment. But, you know, that offering them an incentive is great. You know, you have the experience, you have the time, you have the contacts, and you have the technology to make this work very, very simple. Simple for you, more complicated for them. So it gives a great incentive. It provides a solution, and it's a great motivator to work with these events. The other aspect is, do you care? Okay, the event needs to trust you. They need to know that you care about their event. Some maybe not. Some just go, oh, it's fine. Okay, but most events are very protective of their reputation. They're very guarded over their attendees and their customers because they've spent a lot of money building these up. like any business. Okay, a lot of you are just starting in the hotel booking sector, but you're going to invest a lot of time and a lot of energy in creating these events, these event customers or clients. You're not going to give them away very easily, and you're not going to let people in very easily. And these are the same. So put yourself in their shoes. Okay, do you care about their event? Okay, have you taken the time to research their event? So when you pick up the phone and you talk to them, you're knowledgeable, you're interested, you're interesting, you have a solution, you can identify what it is that they perhaps may struggle with and what it is that you can help them solve. Now, you can't guess that. You could try, okay, but you're going to come off looking pretty stupid, okay, if you haven't researched the event. All of a sudden, they're going to say, well, no, well, we don't have any international visitors. We don't have anyone traveling. All the attendees are local, okay? So this is why, if you've picked an event and you haven't looked to try and profile their customers to see if they're open internationally for people to attend, and not just the attendees. A lot of trade shows have a lot of locals. So what we're doing is we're actually marketing to the exhibitors, the people that set up the stands at the shows. And we're going through the event organizer because we know there are 250 exhibitors on average that exhibit at a trade show. And most of those do not come from the city that trade shows in. They come from all over the country, or they come from overseas to display their wares, to put a stand up, to have a nice big presentation, okay, with Wi-Fi. I mean, some of these people are spending anything from $5,000 to $25,000 on a stand, and they're not just the only people attending that. They're also maybe have 2 or 3 or 4 colleagues that are also working that stand with them for those 3 or 4 days that that event's on. All those people need accommodation. Okay, they're all booking through the company, or maybe they're attending a conference, or maybe they're attending an exhibition of some description, or an opening to something, or whatever it is. So these are the opportunities. So have you taken the time to research their event? Do you know it? Do you know who they are? Did you look them up on LinkedIn? Are you familiar with them? Do you know the hierarchy? Do you know who's the sales manager? This also goes back to when you start targeting hotels. I'm going to tell you exactly the same thing when you target hotels or when you target new customers. Okay, research them. Okay, because it makes you more knowledgeable, makes you more interesting, and they become more interested because you've taken the time. And instantly, you've got them. Instantly, within the first 30 seconds, they understand that you understand them, their product, their problems, their issues, their challenges, and you can help them. That's all they care about. They're too busy to just, listen to a salesperson, because that's how you'll come across if you're not researched and knowledgeable. We're not salespeople here. We're problem solvers. We're not selling them a booking system for $5,000. We're actually selling them. We're working with them to provide a solution. Okay, moving on. Guests. What do guests need? Okay, so understand that in this ecosystem, we've got our events. That's fine. But once we've got the events, we now need to understand the motivators and the solutions of the guests, okay? Because the guests are very important to us through our clients, okay? Guests are brainwashed already by news, Google, everything. They're brainwashed by OTAs, online travel agencies, Booking.com, Expedia, okay? Don't ignore this, address this. We know we can get better rates. We know we can get better terms, okay? We know we can find better hotels and make a much better experience with added value and everything by treating this as a group within our ecosystem, which is our unique selling point, if you like. Address this, okay, and do not ignore it, okay, because you need to make this point very clear through the client, the event, and communicate this with fewer words as possible to the guest to convert them into your next booking. Okay, so what's the guest interested in? Look, we're all guests in hotels. So, you know, once again, put yourself in the shoes of the guest. What do you want? If you're attending an event, what is going to make you book? What's going to make you click on that link? Price and location, really important. Okay, people do buy on price, but price is not the only factor. Don't just think just because it's cheap, people are going to buy it. It's going to be suitable. It has to be suited to them in a very personalized way. So you need to understand almost the demographic of the guest, or the average guest, or the exhibitor, or the competitor that actually is going to be attending that event. Okay? No one wants to pay more. Okay? Now, what I actually should say is no one wants to pay more than someone else. Price is irrelevant. Okay? It's a perception. Okay? It's whether people feel that someone else has got a better price than them. I mean, you know, we used to book 4-star hotels in London at £99. Now those hotels are £350. You know, so this wasn't that long ago. They were £99. So price is irrelevant. But if everything's £350, yet someone's just got that for 300, they're not going to be terribly happy with that, even though it's still 3 times the price of what it is before. That's irrelevant. Okay, so it has nothing to do with price. It has to do with the perception of value. Okay, guests are really paranoid. That's why, on average, guests look at 4 or 5 different websites before they make a booking decision. Okay, and don't ignore that fact either. Okay, and that's why we've got to make sure our rates are good, because before they book with us, they are going to go and have a bit of a check around. So we've got to make sure our deal is appealing, which we can do because we have the numbers and we've got the hotel partners. Not a problem. Okay, but the guests are paranoid, so you've got to understand the guests, just like you are. You're the same. You're that same guest. You don't want to be seen to be paying more through going through another channel. This is what stops a lot of people going direct to hotels. There is this feeling and perception that they'll actually pay more. It's changing a bit now, okay? And we still win in that situation. Booking.com and Expedia are losing that battle. More and more people are booking direct. But when it comes to events, it's actually the other way. We still get better value because we're booking multiple rooms per event. So the hotel wants that. They want to encourage multiple bookings per event. So they still have to give that advantage to people who book multiple rooms. And of course, also us keeping our commissions at a reasonable level at 10 to 15% rather than 15 to 40% makes a massive difference in that space. So it's really important for you to start to understand this. And in future weeks, we are going to dissect the hotels a little bit further so you can really start to understand it. Guests need reassurance that it's the best rate, the best hotel, the best location for their needs. It's a trust thing, you know, and that's at the bottom of the list there. But once again, it's you know, it's actually at the top. It's the same for everyone. No matter who you're dealing with, there's got to be elements of trust. They need to be able to trust you. How do they know they can trust you? Because you're researched, you're interested, you're interesting, you want to solve their problem, you're passionate about what you do, you know, and as you'll see, if they book with anyone else, then you haven't done them a service. Okay, you've done a disservice by letting them get off the hook because you're not helping them. Okay, so you've got to make sure that you can succinctly get your point across to these people. How do you do that? Research, 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 getting to know the events. It's the same thing, no matter who you deal with. Value for money. As I said, price is not always number one. Better room, plus maybe added value, breakfast including, car park, upgrade, voucher, fruit basket, bottle of wine. These things can make the difference to someone's stay. If you're booking a gymnastics or a cheerleading or possibly even a karate tournament, it might be that you need a space for the team to train. So just think ahead a little bit. Once again, care about the event, research the event, think about the people attending the event. With an event that we've been working with more recently to do with martial arts, what we've been looking at is hotels. We've been looking at martial arts events. Perhaps the guests want a gym in the hotel or maybe a swimming pool. So we've been selecting properties that may suit that market a little bit more. They may not. They might be too exhaustive. That might be dealing at such a micro level that we'd have to drill down and drill down and drill down to really fine point. We'd have to know the art of that discipline to know how they feel. That's too much. That's too much detail. But to know it's a sporting event, think they need a gym or a swimming pool or some good food or something like that, great. Then that means that helps our choice of hotels, and it helps keep things really relevant to the guests, to the clients, to the events. Relevance is really, really important, and you can do that. So finding the best hotels and being able to convey that message back to the guests is a value. So it's not price driven. So if this hotel and booking.com are side by side and the price is exactly the same, but we've provided better options, then we'll win the business because that's more relevant to that particular guest. Okay, some guests want to stay with the pack, so some guests don't want to be separated. This is true with teams and groups. They'll pay more to be assured that they stay together. So it's less about price and more about sticking together as a group. No one wants to be in a different hotel if all the group are there having fun, or no one has to go back at 9 or 10 o'clock at night and go and find their hotel when everyone's hanging out in the rec room or the restaurant or whatever at that particular hotel. So you've got a real motivator there. Recommendation by the organizer really carries weight as well, and that's what we are, because we're the exclusive booking agent for that particular event. The event organizer instructing or telling people that, hey, Hotelstv provided these selected hotels with negotiated rates just for us. That carries a lot of weight, and there's a trust element that builds very, very quickly, because these people have just paid to be part of that competition or that event or that trade show. So they trust the organizer, and they've gone and actually asked a lot of the time the organizers, as we explained earlier. So that's really powerful too. So these are things you can also do and add in to your messaging when you go and put an email campaign together through the event organizer. These are the type of motivators that you really want to remind people about in order to make sure you maximize the number of bookings for that particular event. And as I said before, trust. Guests want to trust that you can deliver. Really, really important on all those points, essentially. It's really important that trust is built. And the better you do that, the quicker the trust will be built. What about the hotel's needs? Motivators and solutions. It's really important to understand what the hotels want. They're always looking for new and quality guests. So what is a quality guest? A quality guest is someone that spends money in the hotel on other services such as room service, bar, restaurant. These are valuable contributors to the hotel's revenue. I've often talked about the disappointment with using someone like booking.com or Expedia which convey very little information about the guest to the hotel. And therefore, the hotel might be giving a really good rate through booking.com and encouraging the wrong types of guests to actually come into the hotel. They don't know who they're going to get. When they go on booking.com, they have absolutely no idea who's going to walk through that door, whether they're going to eat out every night or they're here for some other reason, or they're likely to use the bar or the restaurant. And, you know, as an example, if a restaurant's just invested $1 million upgrading or renovating their particular restaurant, or they've got a new Michelin star, and you're filling your rooms with the wrong guests, then you're not going to get the revenue and you're not going to get the attendance into the restaurant or the bar or these other things that as a hotel you've actually invested in, and you're relying to boost your revenue. And your stakeholders in that hotel and the investors and the owners are not going to be particularly happy. So the hotels need to combine, and this is the revenue manager's job and the sales department's job, to combine all these aspects of quality of customer, rate, and expenditure through the hotel, revenue return through the hotel. And they want that at a reasonable cost as well. Hotels are very tired of paying big commissions to the OTAs, and they're looking constantly for solutions which are fair and reasonable. I've often sent people, our agents, off to, you should be connecting to websites like hotelmarketing.com. So if you're not, make sure you subscribe. It's free. You just go on their email distribution list, but it's really worthwhile, because what you do is you start to understand more about what the hotels want and what marketing they're being encouraged to follow. And a lot of this business is direct at the moment. The only reason they want to go direct is because booking.com and Expedia are charging 15 to 40%. They don't get the data from the clients, so they don't know who's arriving in their hotel, and they need to get more control over that. They are not, contrary to what you might believe if they're encouraging direct booking, they're not against agents at all. They're just against greed and not releasing enough data so they can run their businesses effectively. Obviously, OTAs are major sources of business, and they're good marketing channels. It's exposure. You know, if you're seen on booking.com, you're seen, you know, so it's great exposure for these hotels, but it's not necessarily the right exposure, especially if you're a boutique, a luxury hotel, or, you know, you have a certain niche. So they need business other ways, and they need it at a reasonable cost. Guest data, as I've explained, that's really important. And also they want to personalize the person's stay. They want to make sure the person's happy. So quite often they miss that opportunity because they're not given the data. You know, when we're booking people for a trade show, the hotel is aware of it. They know they're a quality guest. They know they're going to spend money in the hotel because that's what people attending trade shows do. And we're giving them the data on the guest, so that, you know, if they wanted to call that guest and go, hey, you know, what type of pillows do you want? What type of scent do you want in the room? They can do it. That's fantastic. That puts us in a really good light because we're conveying that message across. And that's why when we do bookings, we pass on the email address, we pass on the telephone number of the guest, and any comments or any messages, they're going directly to the hotel. You know, they're not, this is important to understand, they're not booking with us, they're booking with the hotel. We are just putting the thing together, okay? So that's really important for you to understand. That's the philosophy I've always worked under, is if you put the guest together with the hotel successfully, if you create that marriage, then you will always do well. You will always earn well out of that. You'll have satisfied hotels which are providing you the product, and you'll have satisfied guests which are paying for the product. And you do that well, the events will see that, and they will want their guests to experience that. So once again, that's the ecosystem that we're talking about. Long-term relationships. No one likes having to go and beat down doors again and again and again and again. What they want are really good relationships that feed business. You want them as well. Um, you want to build relationships with event organizers where the event organizer comes back then again and again. The event organizer wants it as well. They don't want to have to keep looking for a hotel partner. They want some consistency. They want you to learn and grow and get to know their event. They want you to get to know their guests so you can help them more effectively. And that's why we always encourage you to take 2, 3, 4, 5-year agreements if you can with these event organizers. Really, really important. When you're dealing with hotels, the long-term relationships, longer-term relationships with fewer hotels build value. It's valuable to the hotels. The sales departments and the revenue managers reward multiple bookings. They reward good quality business. They want to encourage that in return. They will invite you to dinner. You will stay at their hotel. There is not enough they will be able to do for you because they will see you as a major contributor towards their events. Really, really important to take a long-term view of this. You want to collect that data. You want to get their details off LinkedIn because you can find every sales manager and every revenue manager of a hotel on LinkedIn. You want to get the event organizer's details and you want to stick them on your database, whether you're using a spreadsheet or you use a CRM. We'll talk about CRMs later. We've got all sorts of weeks dedicated to technology as well coming up. But building these long-term relationships, making them understand what you can do for them. Sometimes it's not immediate. Sometimes they don't need you immediately. But over the course of time, if you drip them information through emails, as we'll explain in marketing, you will win. You'll win their hearts, you'll win their trust, you'll win their business, and you'll work with them on a long-term basis because your model has truth behind it. It is in the best interest of everyone involved. It's not greedy for the hotels. It's not greedy for the events. It's rewarding for the guests. They're going to get a good rate. You're going to get paid commission. It wins. This ecosystem is fair on every single one of those 5 points that sit within it. And that's what you must maintain. That's our ethical approach to this marketplace, which wins business. And this has been tried and tested over 20 years. It works. Exclusivity. The hotels want to be associated with exclusive events. You're part of their channel. You're letting them into a channel and it's exclusive with the event organizers because you sign an exclusivity agreement. The hotels want to be a part of that. If they don't understand that, you need to explain that better because it's really, really important. Okay, we have an exclusive event. The only way these hotels can get access to that event and their audience, because these people might have 2,000 people attending the event, but they're also going to have 20,000 people on Facebook, and they're going to have 20,000 people in an email distribution list. And these hotels are being exposed to them. So even if they don't get one booking out of this, they're going to be exposed to a whole market that may not even know they exist until we help them become known through that channel. Okay, plus these hotels see value in being one or maybe one of 2 4 or 5-star hotels connected to that event. As you know, we only do 5 or 6 hotels per event. We don't want 50 or 60 hotels because there's no value in that. The hotels aren't going to give you a good rate if they're one of 50 or 60 hotels because everyone's going to get diluted. The guests are going to book and spread across that if it's perceived that they've been selected for this event. That's far too much choice. You want to make it exclusive. If you make it exclusive for the hotels, they give you good rates. If you make it good and exclusive for the event organizer knows they're going to get looked after, and the hotels know that they've got access to an exclusive audience. And so it all works very succinctly within that ecosystem. What about the agents? You, okay? You are building a business. Relationship take time. Okay, quality clients. You want quality clients. You want regular clients. You want annual events which have a high attendance to them. You want long-term agreements so you can grow with them and provide better value. The longer the more years. You know, one of the reasons I got an event recently for a 2-year contract. It's not what I always hope for more, but you know, I explained that it was on the basis that 1 year is just not enough to get used to what your guests need and be able to provide them really good value. It's not enough with the hotels, because if I can tell the hotels that not only do we have this event for 1 year, it's 2 years, so we get a shot at these customers to really look after them, because guess what? They're going to come back next year. Okay, so we want to encourage this. Okay, quality clients that come back year after year. When you go into these and you talk to these events, you need to be able to explain why we want multiple year agreements. Of course, if you have a multiple year agreement, you're setting up future revenue streams for your business. Okay, so if you get 20 or 30 events in your first year, you're going to have 40 or 60 events in your second year and 60 or 80 events in your third year. And then you're going to have 60 events a year, whether you want it or not. They're there, they're contracted, they're running. So now you're earning 500, 1,000 event, 2, 3, 4, 5,000 per event, but you've got 50, 60 of these. You've probably got a couple of staff members that are helping you do the bookings, and you've got good relationships with the hotels. So, you know, you don't have to make new relationships. You've already got them. You send them an email, and guess what? Okay, yeah, I'll work with you. Harrison, I'll work with you. Here's a good rate. You know, you've sent me 20 events before. Whatever you want. You tell me what you want. You can have it. You know, and that's the way your business evolves. It builds, it snowballs. Okay. Long-term relationships with events, hotels, and other agents. Also working with other agents. Our other agents within our ecosystem, don't forget them. They're in different parts of the world. They can help you. You know, if you're an event organizer and that event organizer now has an event in Madrid, or an event in Manchester, or an event in Sydney, we've got an agent that can help. You know, so that's really important to build those relationships. It's also important for our agents within Hotelstv to know that you're professional, to know that they can trust you, and then they will give you business. So we have business within our agent network, let alone outside. And as long as you can grasp what we're doing and get the best rates at the hotel and do these things which support our ecosystem, other agents within Hotelstv will see that and be able and be encouraged to trust you and send business your way, because they know you're going to handle their precious clients really, really well, and then you're going to receive a share of the commission. Really important. Okay, cooperating with events, motivated to help you promote, you know, so that's what you need as well. You need cooperation from the event organizers. You want these organizers to be motivated to work with you, to understand what you're trying to achieve, and to buy into that. One of the ways you can do that, and one of the things we're doing more of, is being able to reciprocate that. So, for example, I'm going to use martial arts as a bit of an example for this. We're building up martial arts audiences all over the world, because we've done several events in the past. Okay, we're doing several events at the moment, and we've got several events in the future coming up in different countries in the world. When people book through us, we've got access to a really unique audience. Those clients, those guests become Hotelstv. We can then feed opportunities to them. So we will have a martial art audience. And so when we're going to another martial arts event, we can actually help promote to our audience, which reciprocates the event organizer promoting us to their audience. Okay, and we can look at new ways of doing that. If we can help events to grow, that's only going to serve us better because we'll have more people booking hotels. All right, we'll cover that in future chapters. Exclusive agreements. We always ask for exclusive agreements because it gives us leverage. And that's what you want as an agent. You need exclusive agreements. If an event comes up to you and says, okay, give us your best rate. You answer, okay, give us an exclusive agreement and we'll give you the best rates. But we can't negotiate and we can't be expected to negotiate on their behalf, as well as if we can simply waive that agreement in front of the hotel's face and tell them that we are the exclusive agent. Okay, and that also gives us the reassurance that we're going to benefit. Our time and our energy spent on this project is going to benefit us because we have an exclusive arrangement. So therefore it works both ways. So these are other things that you can communicate to events when you talk to them and discuss them. Why are these things? Why do we need an exclusivity agreement? Well, there's several reasons. It's going to benefit you, event organizer, and it's going to benefit us, because we don't have to charge you for the service that we're doing. We get paid by the hotels. So if we've got an exclusive agreement, it assures us that we have that opportunity to do that. Okay, it's commitment on all sides, and once again, it rewards you in commission and it gets you the best rate. Okay. What you also want as an agent and need is commission earnings sooner. Okay, you want to earn money and you want to earn it sooner. So what do you need as an event organizer? Yes, you need events, but you also need events sooner. So what you do is you target events that are coming up sooner, and therefore you'll earn your money sooner. What does Hotelstv need? What do we need? Because we're part of this ecosystem as well. Motivators and solutions. We're supporting this global network of agents to achieve their goals. Everyone's goal is different. Every agent's goal. Some of you are part-time, some of you are full-time. Some of them only want to do a few events a year. Other ones want to do hundreds of events a year. Some of them want to work in weddings, some in medical, some in all different sectors around the world. It's vast. Some of them are in different countries, in different languages, in different cultures, and this is all really, really important as well. So as a global agent, we want global agents. We need global agents around the world that are trained, that are active, that are engaged, that are motivated, that are caring agents representing Hotelstv to make this a world-leading event accommodation partner. And we are well on our way to that, because in doing what we do, there are very few, or I don't know of any, hotel booking agents that have the spread that we have already around the world and can help as many of these events as our main purpose in these countries, and certainly not via a network of agents that are and should be very motivated because they're running their own business. So that's really important to us. Technology and support. So, you pay your hosting and support payments every month. That goes towards the upgrade, the development, the management, the maintenance of the technology that we use to keep it going, keep it fresh. Like any website that you would create off Wix or wherever always has a subscription, because that space has to be paid for, your support has to be paid for, your hostings, but also the development, which is the exciting part about it too. We need global events and guest bookings, okay? And we're motivated to help you promote the hotel options as well, and make sure this all comes together for you. Okay, global events and guest bookings, that's what we're all about. Agent feedback, we need your feedback too. We know you're in different parts of the world. different languages, different cultures. There's different types of events and those different habits of people, different booking habits. Give you an example. For a long time in the Middle East, people going to the Middle East would book online. For a long time, if you were a guest coming from Saudi Arabia to Dubai, you would only book it over the phone. You wouldn't even use it online. So even as developed as we think we are, and how we believe that the internet thing is just a phenomenon all over the world, there are still countries that don't use it as effectively. Germany is another country that was very slow to adopt online transactions. It's only been maybe the last 3 or 4 years that Germany has really started to push most of their online transaction. They felt more comfortable doing it more traditional ways. So this is why it's really important to give us that feedback. And that's important for technology development as well, so we can keep evolving the technology to suit these events and look at new opportunities as well. So once again, just to refresh you, that is pretty much the ecosystem. Okay, there's 5 elements of this. There's actually a lot more within it, but just to break it down and keep it simple as an ecosystem: events, guests, hotels, agents, and Hotelstv. And with all your thinking and your planning and your research, if you can keep those things in mind all the time, then you're on track. And I think that's the main message that can come out of that. Okay, now it's time to research. Okay, now what we've done is we can understand what goes into all the elements of the ecosystem and understand what people want and what they're looking for. That makes it a great deal easier for you then to use that information and start to research. Okay, there's no point just, it would be a shotgun approach if you did it any other way. Okay, and you would just ruin your averages. You would have no averages. You would have no hit rate. You couldn't say I get 1 in 5 events that I talk to. You couldn't even do that because you essentially would have no strategy at all. So it would be whatever you fell across, I guess, at the end of the day. Now, when you funnel that into your research, research becomes the key to find the best events, which saves you time and it makes you money. Okay, the research, I can't go on how important the research aspect really is. Okay, once again, always keep the 5 parts of the ecosystem in mind. Research educates you and makes you relevant and interesting. Discuss that. It allows you to discover problems which need solutions. So subscribe to things. If you're looking at a particular niche in a sector, go in and subscribe. It's a bit like if you were share trading. If you were buying shares on the stock market, you would want to research, or I would hope you would want to research information on a company. And then I would hope you would want to be connected to news feeds so that you can get latest information. Once again, that's why I suggest you look at hotelmarketing.com, ehotelier.com, travelmole.com. These are all, that's M-O-L-E, travel mole is one word. These are all really useful platforms for you to understand about hotels. So once again, that's hotelmarketing.com, travelmole.com, and ehotelier, just the letter E, hotelier.com as one word. They're 3 pretty straightforward regular news services about the travel industry, which will give you the latest breaking information. That's where I get a lot of the information that I send on to you through email campaigns as well. Keep researching, because this will, if you've got a particular niche in mind, you'll be able to hear about these things, movements, before they actually happen. That gives you a really good head start to look at it. or maybe they've announced a problem, and that gives you some ammunition that when you're talking to your next event organizer, you've got some more ammunition to be able to throw at them to help you win their event, to convince them of your argument, because did you know this is happening? Okay, research, research, research. Live and breathe this market. You know, like any business that you go into, anything that you want to be successful at, you need to spend time. You need to absorb it. You need to really become completely absorbed. A bit like learning a language or learning anything. You need to be absorbed in this and really believe. You need to be dreaming about it. Once you're dreaming about it, that's generally a sign that you're really focused on it. That's great. Okay. And once again, research shows that you've done some work and shows that you care and you're knowledgeable and you have a clue about what you're doing or what you're trying to do. Okay. So what about how you research? Okay. Step one, choose your path. Okay. You've got so many paths, you can't do everything. You have to choose a direction. Okay. Research opportunities. So look, you can either choose something that's you know something about, or you have contacts in, or you've always wanted to be involved in, or there's some sort of connection. That's great. Focus, focus, focus. Become the expert in that by focusing. By staying niche, you become an expert and you will be referred and recommended to other events. Events will see that you have a bit of a focus on that sector, and they'll be more encouraged and trusting of you, that you know how to handle that market, and the guests will get the benefit of that, and so on. If you don't know what you want to focus on, then search what's hot, what's trending. You know, go on to Google, and if you've been onto Google and you type things, the search phrases now come up at the top and the bottom of any Google search. That is actually telling you what people are searching for. So if you put something in to do an event, pharmaceutical events, gymnastics tournaments, you can actually read before you even press go. Oh, actually, sorry, no, you press enter. You will read at the bottom all the different search terms that are associated, and that's from people's searches, current searches. Go onto Twitter, go onto Instagram, if you're familiar, you know, and go on and use those, because that'll tell you what's trending around events and what people are talking about. If they're talking about it, you want to get in there, you want to get involved. Also know what you want to achieve, you know, and know the hours and time that you've got to be realistic, and you've got to be honest with yourself at this point and go, okay, well, I'm still working. This is only part-time, so I can't do this 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. I need to look at events that I can access evenings and weekends. So that might be wedding couples, it could be sports clubs and those sorts of things. You can get to the organisers evenings and weekends because they also hold down a full-time job during the day and they don't have time to organise all this. They would actually appreciate the fact that someone is available after hours to do that. So that might be something that helps you find your niche, is just working out what you can and can't do and what's realistic in hours. So there might be ways that you can actually start to develop. We're not after expansion here, we're after development and niche and getting you on track. Later on in chapters and in future webinars as part of this series, we will discover how we expand on those too. Step 2, once you've got your path, is to research the events. Search for events by type, location, and month. So pharmaceutical, medical, whatever it is, sports, in London in June. Okay, so the internet gives you, Google gives you the ability to be your library. You know, this your library is you've never had information at your disposal like this ever before. This is the best it's ever been. You have the facilities that free that you could ever need for this business. This is why I don't believe in throwing money at marketing and different things in this business. It's just not necessary. The events are already taking place. You just need to find them. And how you find them is the steps that we've taken now, and we get down to researching. You can be so specific that I want to do an event in May. Okay, what events are in May? And what sector do I want? What month? What day? What weekend? How can I fill each week up with an event in each week? You can be so deliberate like that. But then also keep in mind that can all be thrown straight out of the window because you get one event, and that event you then find out once you've contracted and work with that organizer, you actually discover they have another 5 or 6 or 7 events in different parts of the world. So all of a sudden, your part that you thought was here is now over here. But it's an income opportunity. You make a decision, do I want that? Do I outsource that? If I don't have the time because I want to be on here. So maybe you work with another agent who may be in that sector as well, which allows you to share the business, but it also allows you to build your business and keep growing in the direction that you want to. So these are all decisions that you choose on your path that we want to help you with. They're all valid directions, but you want some accountability. You want to have a plan. You want to have goals. You want to have something that you want to achieve in order to know that you are progressing the way you want to, and keeps you motivated. Yeah, you give yourself little rewards as you go. Once again, we'll discover that and discuss that later. Okay, shortlist suitable events on a spreadsheet, or use, not us, use a CRM. Okay, and we'll go through CRMs later. The CRM is a customer relationship management tool like Salesforce, which you may have heard of, and also Infusionsoft. The one I use is called agilecrm.com. You can go and have a look at that. The best thing to do if you don't understand anything about this industry is just go onto YouTube. Once again, you're in an era where you've got so much information at your disposal. There is absolutely no excuse why you cannot learn anything in this world by using Google and using YouTube. Okay, these are resources which you should have open at all times to explain every single element. And none of this you have to pay for, by the way. You can choose to take on certain courses. I encourage you to self-educate. We have different modules coming up on how to sell, how to present, how to do all this, which we do. But if you want to go and join something on presenting and finding new customers and winning business and self-motivation and working from home and all these millions of different things that you could do, some of this stuff is very good and you could pay for it, you could get it free, but I do encourage it. Okay, shortlist suitable events. We've got a spreadsheet which is in your Dropbox. We've given you, it's a very simple Excel spreadsheet. Put it down. Every comment, every conversation you have recorded. That's really important as well. And also, if you use a CRM later on, you can export all that and put it straight into a CRM. The CRM just automates your marketing for you. So when you've got 50,000 clients and you've got 5,000 event organizers, you can regularly update them, you can run campaigns, you can record information, you can prioritize, put reminders on when events are happening so you can follow them up. You can do so many things. But the main message here right now is to shortlist, okay? So you're researching events, you're looking at by type, location, and month, and you're shortlisting them. Shortlisting means write them down on a piece of paper. These are the ones that you want to follow. These are the ones you're interested in. These are the ones that fit and tick the boxes on everything that you want. Okay, so an example for you to find this is you go into Google or you go into a guide like Event Finder, or 10times.com is a growing one. 10times.com. 10times.com, by the way, and these other sites, they're only directories. You still need to drill down and get to the official event website. So don't try and conduct your inquiries using a directory like 10 times. Just copy the name of the event and go and Google that and find the actual event. The actual official registration page is what you want, because that is where people are transacting. And that will also have the contact details of the event organizer. You then can see the event info and the event contact. And that's all you need. That is really all you need. But what are you looking for? When you go onto these websites and when you go and find an event, what is it actually that you need to find out? What separates a good opportunity from a bad opportunity? What allows you to shortlist and focus your research so that you have a 50, 75, or 100% hit rate on the events you're interested in working with? They're the events that you contract and get to work. Okay, what is your percentage going to be? That comes down to the quality of your research, how well it's sticking within your parameters, and number one, does the website have a hotel accommodation option or a link to an agent? Okay, this isn't religious, being the fact that if you come across a website and they don't have a link, it doesn't mean they're not suitable. It also means they're a candidate. But what we're trying to do is narrow and find your best shots, okay, what we call the low-hanging fruit, the stuff that is ready for you right now. You can still go to websites and see, oh, they don't have an accommodation link at all. Great, I'll give them a call. I'll follow them up. I'll send them an email. I'll go and see them. That's all really relevant, okay? So you shouldn't prejudge that something is not going to be suitable. If Booking.com is connected to the website, it is still very suitable. We just picked up 14 events from an event organizer that was connecting to Booking.com. Booking.com, as you'll learn, is not a solution to this problem for people and for event organizers. So don't prejudge anything, but more so go for the options that are probably more ready than others, okay? If the website has an accommodation link already on the website, it means that the event recognizes the importance of accommodation for its users. It's probably been asked a million times, where can we stay? Where can we stay? It also probably tells you they've probably got a traveling market that needs accommodation for that event. So that's a sign that that's a good opportunity. You've also got to look, do they link that accommodation link to an event, sorry, an agent or a hotel directly, or Booking.com, or any of these? And the other one to look at is, do they have the event contact details? Well, I haven't found an event website which doesn't have contact details on, to be honest. They are the two things that you're looking for. Okay, so where do you find the most suitable events through your research? Step 3 is to narrow your list even further of suitable events by time, that the event's happening soon so that you can get paid sooner, you can earn money sooner. They also quite often need help at short notice. Sometimes if they haven't got a solution, the phone is ringing. It's a good opportunity to get bookings going now and to be able to help these events at really short notice, which wins you loyalty as well. Okay, and also narrow them by need. The need for the hotel accommodation partner. Has there been an attempt to provide the accommodation links by the event organizer, as we discussed? Do they have a link to Booking.com or a hotel directly? Because they're great opportunities, both of those. All those opportunities mean to us that, once again, the organizer feel it's important to have hotel options, but if they have links to Booking.com or other OTAs or hotels directly, they're not getting a negotiated rate. They're not getting added value. They're not getting something special to encourage them to book. It might be convenient that they're there and they don't have to go to another window on their computer and search booking.com or go to their app or go to anything like that. It might be convenient, but it's not giving them any value. You know, booking.com doesn't negotiate rates for groups and events and trade shows based on the fact there could be 50 people booking hotels at their hotel room, at their hotel. So they're not going to give them anything special. They haven't negotiated a bottle of wine in the room or a late checkout or given them directions or whatever it is. So this is where the opportunity is that you need to be really focused on and understand. And once again, the main contact details, the reason we want that is because you want to get access to the main decision maker. And that's the other thing. When you're looking at these websites, can you get to the decision maker? If they're a mega site and there's so many different layers and you've got to email this company and this, yeah, maybe that's not the best option for you to look at right now. Okay, it might be a big event, and also by having such a big event, you might have the possibility that you can get to those particular decision makers, but also it may not be the right solution. You know, where you could actually address other solutions so much faster by making sure there is, you know, just a contact email address or a phone number, and for someone that says they are the event organizer. Okay. All right. So here's an example using Google. This is off a search that says medical conventions, London 2019. So we've simply put this in. You can try these sorts of searches. I'm sure you have already. Medical conventions, London 2019, the list come up. Okay, we've seen the RCP, and that's the Royal College of Physicians. They have an annual conference, and it even says there they will host 700 physicians from across all medical specialities and feature over 70 speakers, blah, blah, blah. So you do your research. The information's all there in front of you, okay? And what I was telling you before, what's hot comes up at the bottom. See, searches related to medical conventions, okay? Medical conferences, UK 2019, international medical conferences. They're actually giving you hints of what other people have also searched for. So this shows trends, this shows things that you can use for your research. An example of a conference website or a directory is below, which is there called the conferencewebsite.com. Okay, so clearly that is a good tool for reference, but you're not going to get the official website at that particular point. You're not going to have that information that's actually present on that website. You're still going to have to book. You're going to have to, book, look, and you're going to have to copy and paste the details into Google and do a little bit more research and what to get down to the official, actual website. Okay, so here's an example again. Once you click on that, you come up to the Royal College of Physicians' actual website, and they have a venue and travel tab. All right, so you hover over the top of that, you can see that they've recognized the need for visitor information to Manchester and accommodation, okay, out of that. And so what you would do is then click on the accommodation link, okay, and once again, a reminder, what you're looking for, are hotels offered via an agent, or is it just a link to an online travel agent? Are they selected hotels with negotiated rates? Are there the contact details of the event organizer? Once again, it's a reminder, these are the things you want to look for. So this is what comes up. So this looks like a dedicated website. All right, so, and you can do that search yourself. It's got the date there. It's got the location. This is actually in Manchester. It has a list of details of where the venue is and details on how to register and how to book a hotel. It looks pretty focused, okay? But now, when you drill down a little bit further into this, you realize, and you'll come to recognize this the more websites you look at, that this is actually just a booking website. It's an affiliate site. There's no selection of hotels. 65 hotels have come up, 52 with availability. So there's absolutely no selection whatsoever. And it just starts from top to bottom in no apparent order, maybe distance. No, it's not even in distance order. So it's probably whoever's paying more commission to Hotelzone, who is the provider. And then maybe the event might be earning a small commission out of this. If they're an affiliate, there would be up to a maximum of 5%, but there are no negotiate. There is nothing special. There is no added value. Yet the impression that we just got was that it's very much focused. So it's only until you really dig down and search through these websites where you actually uncover the truth and see that you can do better and see there is an opportunity for you. That is an opportunity that should be shortlisted, that goes in your spreadsheet, ready to be contacted. But now, not only are they ready to be contacted, you're a lot wiser to what is needed to be done. Okay, and when you speak to the organizers, you can speak with some sort of positive, relevant information about that you understand their event and that you have a solution. You've also had time to digest what they do and be able to approach them in a really positive way with that solution rather than being caught off guard during the conversation, which I'm sure we've all done, and then had to scrabble your way out of the conversation, trying to sound like you have a solution to something that you didn't even know was a problem in the first place. So it's much, much better and more effective being more professional, going in there with research behind you, and this basically demonstrates it. Okay. Just to give you an idea, there's different types of accommodation links and pages. An event might just link to a hotel website and say the Holiday Inn, book here, and there's a telephone number. That's next to useless because they're still going to talk directly. The events, the hotel's not going to know they're part of that event, and and so on. They're just an individual. They have no weight. They have no leverage, I guess, in that argument. Dedicated hotel website. Sometimes hotels actually have their own portal, so they'll have their own group page. And that's generally for events that are actually happening directly in that hotel. They'll have that group page. And they will give it a rate, but they've only got one hotel choice. Remember, we're all about choice. We want a budget, mid-range, luxury. Visitors and guests aren't stupid. They know, if they don't want that, if they don't want to pay $250 a night, they're not going to be forced into doing it just because that's the only hotel on the page. They're going to go and book through booking.com or Expedia. So we give choice. So even in that situation, we've still got great opportunity, even if they have a dedicated hotel page supplied by the hotel, it's still not quite enough. And there's different ways we can work with that. If an event still has that, you could still add that hotel onto your private booking area, and you can still work with them on that basis. And you might say to them, okay, well, look, you've already got an arrangement in place, keep it. Let me add the budget and the mid-range option, and you can just have the luxury option, but let's all work through one platform, which is easier for the guests at the end of the day. And once you do that, they'll give you all the bookings thereafter because they'll just go, you know what you're doing, you do it better than we do, off you go, you can have it. So sometimes there's a bit of negotiation, getting in with the event, getting around some of these things. But as I said, look for your low-hanging fruit first. Try to avoid events that are taking place at a hotel, okay, because they will have that system in place, and your only option initially will probably be, once again, don't prejudge, but your initial option will probably be to add that hotel and maybe not take any commission because it's already been pre-discussed, but you can add the other options that are in the area that are budget mid-range as well. But once again, your shortlist should be hotel or events that are taking place not at hotels. Okay, just a bit of a tip for you. But once again, don't prejudge. There may be opportunities. You don't know if the event organizer is happy or not happy with what they've received until you actually speak to them. Some event websites have an inquiry form. Inquiry forms are next to useless because they might take 24 hours to come back with a decision on whether the hotel's available. From your point of view, that's not really in the guest point of view. They want an instant confirmation. They want it there and then. The OTA website, as we've just looked at, Hotelzon was one. They have local filters on there which filter everything in that location, but there's not negotiated rates. There's no added value, so you have a great advantage over those. Tailored website. You could have tailored websites, a bit like our PBA. There are a couple of companies out there. There's a couple of companies in London that do it, that followed us and actually but they're generally isolated. There's not a global network that all operate. They're normally individuals, and they can only deal with a number of events per year themselves. But if so, you've got to look at them. Are they still negotiated rates? Do they offer added value? Because even some websites, they pretend to be a tailored website, but actually they're pulling their rates from somewhere else. They're still not negotiated rates. And sometimes you can even talk to the hotels and discover that, especially if you've got a contact at the sales department. You can actually discover whether those people are actually pulling that through an affiliate system of Booking.com or Expedia or Hotelzon, but disguising or white labeling it as themselves, or they actually have some sort of value there, and they've actually done some negotiation. Maybe they've run out of stock. You don't know. Okay, so the how is, how do I contact and contract events? Well, you've got details of that are in your Dropbox, but number one is you contact the event organizer. Number two is you create the interests and relevance and need, discuss the benefits and the local hotel interest that you have. Always go in with that when you talk to the event organizer. I work with Hotel Divan, Malmaison and Novotel, and expressed real interest in your event, and they'd love to give you negotiated rates using our platform. That's a great way to get your foot in the door of these events, because if you're an event organizer, who doesn't want negotiated rates given to you directly through these hotels? Because that's actually what we do. Don't tell them what rates. Say, this is what we do. We work with the hotels. We use our private booking area, and we link it to your website. That's it. Okay, you want to build desire, you want to discuss the benefits, and you want to use the information that we've been through your research. You want to sound relevant, and the only way you can do that is by doing the right research. That's how important research is in this process, and narrowing down your choices and shortlisting your event options, the ones that are most suited to what you have to offer. Okay, remember, you're providing a solution. What is your solution? Why should they use you? Okay, and once you narrow it down and you've got your focus and you can demonstrate that, then it's easy. You need to stick in your niche, and you need to follow through with these hotels. You need to be able to then convey that message across to the event organizer, and then you will have no problems whatsoever contracting exclusive events that are going to work for you for years to come, and getting multiple year agreements from these event organizers as well. You then, once you've had a chat to these event organizers, you then email them the information and exclusivity agreement. And that is, as you've already seen, if you see on the screen now, we've got the order of operation. This is actually all in your order of business. Your order of business is in your welcome folder within your Dropbox, okay? And your order of business explains the process of working with these event organizers, and also the order in which you need to work. So it's all been very much mapped out for you. And I'm not clearly going to go through it now with you because it's a longer document. You should have all read it by now. But if you look at the order of operation, from this point onwards, it shows you all the steps, the precise script that you can follow, the email that you send out afterwards with the agreement. The agreement is found in your materials folder. And once you put all that together, it's simply a case of following up on the event and saying, we'd love to get started. There's not that long till the event. Can we get on with it? Send back the agreement. And as soon as we get that back, we'll contract hotels, create the private booking area for you, and give you the link that you can send out and put on your event page and send out to your social networks and email campaigns. And we can even create the email campaign for the event organizer if they don't actually want to, or maybe they don't have the facilities to do it. If they want to give us their database of clients, which most do not for obvious reasons, but if they do, then we can actually put it into our CRM and do a mass email campaign out, which promotes the event and registration for them, as well as the hotel booking option. So that is something you can offer them, and that's going to assist them in their registrations as well as the hotel bookings and making sure that people are accommodated. So follow up on every contact that you speak to. It's important to do that within a few days of sending them the information. Tell them you'll follow up in a couple of days and make sure they're happy, and let's get started. Be positive, be motivated. And then get to work on the hotels, and then get to work on creating the private booking area as well. So there are thousands of opportunities around you: groups, events, meetings, conventions, trade shows, exhibitions, weddings, sports tournaments. You're welcome to keep adding to that list, and we'd love to hear from you in the coming weeks. And we're going to have a time where we can actually share a lot of that information, probably about week 5 as well. Plant seeds. We'll talk about this more in business development. But with meeting venues, wedding venues, sports venues, these are places that you can get repeat business because they have repeat events. They have multiple events happening, and providing the right incentive and becoming friends with the right people in those venues, that can deliver a lot of business for years and years to come. Great partnerships. Once again, Chamber of Commerce, networking, and email campaigns. Use and your reputation. Okay, now that you're with Hotelstv, we've done hundreds of events all over the world. Get to know our past clients. Nothing sells like experience, and you can use this to actually impress event organizers and show that you're professional and that you've already been working on similar styled events. And it can also give you a clue as to what types of events to focus on, which give you a great opportunity for return. You have a previous events document in your materials folder as well that you can use to read. You can also use to distribute that if you need to support any of your conversations with that as well. Remember the flow. Select the events, then select the hotels, create the PBA, link the event website or link to the event website, promote via the event, analyze and adjust. So we use Google Analytics, and we'll go through that later as well. But we can see from the event website who is clicking on which hotel and be able to feed that information back. In your edit destination area, you will also see there is a place for what's called a UA code. The UA code can be set up on your Gmail account that you have where your Hotels.tv account is hosted, and you can add analytics, which means you can also monitor the click-throughs from an event website to your PBA and see which hotels they're clicking on more, and that will give you a really good idea, especially if they're booking or not booking, if the rates are decent, if you're providing what these guests want to see. That's a great thing to do as early in the process as possible in order to be able to keep fine-tuning your pages. Then manage the bookings that are coming through. We'll talk about that in future weeks. And then we invoice, and then you get paid. Some quick examples for you before we go to a Q&A. The hotel show is something we're doing in Africa at the moment. A couple of events in Africa. One's called SATEX. Quan Grand Slam, which is martial arts tournaments in Australia. We've just picked up this. There are 23 events around the country. ISKA, International Sport Karate Association. For many years, we've been the official booking partner of the Suntec Convention Centre, which is the largest convention centre in Singapore. If you go onto their website under visitor information, you'll see a link through to the PBA. Sushi Festival, we're the official booking agents for the Paris International Sushi Festival. If you look down the very bottom of that Facebook feed, there are 89,000 people interested in the Paris International Sushi Festival. Okay, and that's coming up soon. We are still waiting on final dates for that, but it just shows the interest you can get through social media through some of the events that you're working with. All right, so now we're ready for the Q&A. Hopefully that's really covered a lot of what you needed to know at this particular stage, but if you have any questions, now is the time. There is a chat button that's located on your screen, and I'll go through some of the questions in a moment. So you can type your message in there and send that through. And just some quick takeaways while we've got some messages coming in. Be active. Activity is what drives motivation, and it shows event organizers that you're really interested, and the guests, you know, even when you've got an event, you'll learn in future weeks that you can keep promoting different rates even whilst you've got the PBA set up, specials, last minute availability. But activity, keep busy researching, keep busy talking to event organizers. Always consider the ecosystem, research, select events, contact with passion. Okay, you really mean this, you really want to help them, that goes a long way. Build trust, and then eat, sleep, and repeat. Just repeat the process over and over and over again with different events, and your business will grow. All right, question here. Hi, Indra. Indra's in Bangkok. How do you know how many hotels to contact depending on the number of attendees? For instance, this medical conference will have 700 people attending. So how many hotels this has to be kind of spread out? That's a good question. Thanks for that, Indra. It depends on what you're planning. As a general rule, as a potential of hotel bookings, normally we look at about 10% of an event. It could be much greater, but it depends on the event. If it's a trade show or a convention or a meeting, we can kind of expect probably about 10%. So out of 700, and we're trying to be conservative, but let's try and think of 50 to 70 rooms that'll probably need booking out of that. If it's 2,000, then once again, anything from 50 to 200 potential bookings. So if you think about that, it will depend on the location of the event. If it's in a place that is full of small hotels, which only have 20, 30, 40, 50 rooms, you might have to use a lot of hotels. But each hotel, you might only get what's called a non-guaranteed allocation, and we'll talk about that in future weeks. But you might only get 5 or 10 rooms per night. and you might target, anything from, 5 to 10 to 15 rooms with that particular hotel. And once you've sold those, you can go back to the hotel and get more. So to answer your question, 5 or 6 is normally what we would go for anyway, because we would normally, if we've got more people, we would choose 5 or 6 larger hotels with more bedrooms. So we're giving the hotels more business. Remember, that's our focus, is to really provide a lot of bookings to the hotels, because it builds our relationship and it works for us in future events. They give us much better rates as time goes on. So I would still stick to the 5 to 10 hotels, but just go larger depending on the size. And you can normally gauge it by having a few different types of hotel in your portfolio and getting 5 or 10 rooms, selling those, and then going for more. If you're selling them quite quickly or you're booking them quite quickly, you can always add more hotels on. This is a very fluid thing. So if you find you need more hotels, go and add more hotels. If you only took 10 rooms off one hotel and now they have no more availability, say thank you very much and go and add another hotel that does have the availability. So you can keep developing that. If it's something like, we did a really big karate tournament 4 or 5 years ago, and we actually needed to use 3 to 4 star hotels. It all had to be the same category because it was actually being paid for through the organizers. So it wasn't a PBA we needed. We did use one, but it was more organizing with the event. And now we had to go and find 6 different hotels. 8 hotels. We went across 8 hotels that were all a 3-star standard. And we had to negotiate because they didn't want some people staying in a 4-star hotel and some people in a 2-star hotel, because that wouldn't have been fair. So it took us, and that's why they needed our help, to try and organize. That was 1,000 people. We booked 600 rooms across 8 hotels, and they stayed for 6 nights. So, this was about a $400,000 event, which generated about $40,000 for the event organizer, but it took quite a long time. It took a few months to organize. So it depends on the events that you're dealing with. Hopefully that answers your question, Andrew. Question here from David. Hi, David. David's in the West Midlands, in Coventry. What about the minimum size of hotel and the number of rooms should we work with? Yeah, look, it's a good question, David. I always like exclusivity. I think being able to offer really limited opportunities is better, especially if it's boutique and interesting and something that people will find is an experience. Then there's definitely a market for that. Our technology has the ability to be able to work not just on allocation, because the smaller the hotel, the more difficult it's going to be to take allocated rooms off them, because they could book them at any time. So you work with them what's called on request, which is a drop-down function that we have. That means people can come through and book, but the availability needs to be checked at the time of the booking. And that is a great way to work with these really small, intimate, unique little guest houses and hotels that are just fantastic. Like, give you a quick example. In London, in West Street, which is just off Shaftesbury Avenue, we used to work with a restaurant called West Street, and above the restaurant they had 3 loft suites, and the beautiful loft suites, but they only had 3 of them, so they never provided their availability in that sense to any online websites, because they didn't need to. They only had 3. So we put them on request, and we used to book them so often because they became a destination. They became something that people just wanted to stay at. So they would actually ask us when it's available and we'll book it then. So it's always worth throwing in a couple of these options because it makes you unique and it's special, and you're providing an option that's different and gives them an experience and shows that you're interested in where they're booking and what they're doing. So I think that's a great way to do it as well. Okay. So another question that's coming up is when should we start using the spreadsheet and should we go to a CRM? Yeah, look, the spreadsheet you should use straight away because it's a great way of just writing things down and detailing and funneling your events into one place. Moving to a CRM you can do sooner. There's a cost involved. With most CRMs, they're anything from probably about US dollars you can convert. I mean, the one I'm using is about $80 US a month. And for what it does and the time it saves me, I think it's an amazing investment. It's great value, but you've got to be active with it. So what you can do with these CRMs though, is you can get, like the spreadsheet, you can add the details to it of the event organizer, get their actual, even if you've got to pick up the phone and call the event itself and say, look, I just want to send you some information. I'm not going to chat to you anything about now, but who's the person I need to speak to? What's their email address? Because then you've got a targeted email to send stuff to. Don't go and just add email addresses which say info at or support at, or because they generally, everything gets funneled off into junk mail. It won't reach its target. But if you get a name, then it's really valuable, and you should only be collecting proper names. Don't take shortcuts, really get the names, it'll pay off. Put that in your spreadsheet, do that, start doing that now, and you build up your list. If you put it into your CRM, what you can do, and in several weeks' time, we're going to show you what to do. You can build automated campaigns around that. So you can have an email that goes out on week 1 that has this message, and automatically 3 weeks later, another email goes out with this message, and then another month later, another email with that message. So you can time all this, and each reminding these event organizers that you're there, what good work you're doing with other events, and how you're getting them great opportunities, or maybe even making them some money through a share of commission. These are all really great ways to generate new events in the future, and to really build long-term relationships. You know what it's like. The longer you're seen, the more trusted you become. You know, a lot of you agents out there have seen that Hotelstv have been around for years, and it's taken you some time to get yourself into a position to join us. Well, event organizers are no different. You know, if they see that you're in the market for a while and you've been contacting them a while, they're going to want to work with you because they can see that you're doing some good things. So that's great. So I would certainly recommend, if you don't mind the expense, then jumping onto a CRM is a great way to keep track of that. And anything that motivates you to spend more time creating new clients is a good thing. It's only going to make you money. If you want to sit there and have to do everything manually, it's going to cost you time away from collecting clients. So you've got to weigh that up depending on how many hours and what your goals are, I guess, more than anything. Okay, well, that's great. Well, look, thank you very much for your questions. Thanks for your attendance. I really hope you got a lot out of that. The next training session that we have will be next Monday, and it is the 8th of April. You'll be sent links. You'll also be sent a recording of this training webinar, and it'll also go up on the YouTube training channel. But next week is week 2 of 8, all about hotels. So we'll start to answer more of your questions about how you select hotels, what hotels are suitable, what they want, how to find them, um, and of course contracting and negotiating with them as well. So that should be really interesting, and it's another vital piece of the puzzle. So as you see there are a list of the weeks that are coming up with completed clients. Next week is hotels. In the third week, it's all about the website and creating the private booking area, which is your canvas for putting together the hotels and the clients. Then we talk about marketing and linking to the events. Then we're on to booking and managing and confirming your bookings and how to do more bookings. And then eat, sleep, repeat, and we'll go through a bit of a refresher as well. And we'll also talk to you about other developments that are happening and what agents have actually been working on, because we have our one-to-ones in the meantime as well. Then on to business development. Business development is absolutely ongoing. We'll continue to have constant webinars on business development. CRM and technology should be really interesting, where we dissect using technology to help make you more efficient and automate a lot of your marketing. And then we move on to graduation, where we talk about our successes and set you up for your future business life as an agent, self-employed, and as an agent within the Hotelstv network. So we're really looking forward to that. So once again, thank you very much. Appreciate all your comments and looking forward to seeing you next week. We'll send a link out. In the meantime, have a great week. Bye for now.